poem Somewhere in America by Melissa Escobedo, Rhiannon McGavin, and Zaria Allen has many controversial topics throughout. Censorship, sexual assault, diminishing literacy rates, but mostly about the fraudulent education system, with schools that are forcing children to shut up and comply with society's injustices, rather than teach future generations about what's really happening here in America.
Somewhere in America addresses the injustice of being taught lessons in school that seem less important and will soon be forgotten, where there are real issues that future generations should be informed about, such as women being raped and killed for saying no, and children that are living homeless on the streets. However, these topics are rarely, if ever, talked about in public schools because they are too controversial.
This poem inspired me because I have studied abandoned child books and was appalled that others would try to restrict access to certain books simply because they did not deem them appropriate.
I was moved by the passion of this poem to hold schools accountable for the millions of children that will one day be forced to step into society and be faced with a choice, hopefully an ethical choice.
I believe that everyone should be treated with equality, regardless of their race, religion, or nationality. I am Jewish and have spent much of my young life learning about injustice and genocide that touches close to my heart.
Though we have not personally endured these horrible injustices, it doesn't mean that it isn't still happening, that we don't see them. America isn't perfect, we all know this. But how can we expect a better tomorrow if we're constantly being told to be quiet and ignore what's happening around us? To forget about it because it isn't happening to you. It's too real.
How can there be change if we're always told to follow the status quo, teach the same old history lessons, and censor what we read? Maybe someday,
In America,
there will be change.
here in America, in every single state, they have a set of standards for every subject, a collection of lessons that the teacher is required to teach by the end of the term.
but the greatest lessons you will ever teach us will not come from your syllabus.
The greatest lessons you will ever teach us, you will not even remember.
You never told us what we weren't allowed to say. We just learned how to hold our tongues.
Now, somewhere in America, there's a child holding a copy of The Catcher in the Rye, and there's a child holding a gun.
But only one of these things has been banned by their state government, and it's not the one that can rip through flesh.
It's the one that says F you on more pages than one. Because we must control what the people say and how they think.
And if they want to become the overseer of their own selves,
Then we'll show them a real one. And somewhere in America, there's a child sitting at his mother's computer, reading the homepage of the KKK's website.
And that's open to the public, but that child will never read To Kill a Mockingbird.
Because the school has banned it for its use of the N-word.
Maya Angelou is prohibited because we're not allowed to talk about rape in school.
We were taught that just because something happens doesn't mean you are to talk about it.
they build us brand new shopping malls
So that we forget what we're really standing, on the bones of the Hispanics, on the bones of the slaves, on the bones of the Native Americans, on the bones of those who fought just to speak. Transcontinental railroads to Japanese internment camps. There are things missing from our history books.
But we were taught that it is better to be silent than to make them uncomfortable.
Somewhere in America,
private schoolgirls stood for hours through boutiques trying to find the prom dress of their dreams.
While kids on the south side spend hours searching through the lost and found.
because winter's coming soon and that's the only jacket they have. Kids are late to class for working the midnight shift. They give awards for best attendance, but not for keeping your family off the streets.
These kids will call your music ghetto. They will tell you don't talk right.
Then they'll get in the backseat of their car with all their friends singing about how they're about that life and we can't stop. Somewhere in America,
Schools are promoting self-confidence.
while they whip out their scales and shout out your body fat percentage in class.
Where the heftier girls are hiding away and the slim fit beauties can't help but giggle with pride.
The preppy kids go thrift shopping because they think it sounds fun, but we go because that's all we've got money for. Mama works for the city. Mom only gets paid once a month. Somewhere in America,
A girl's getting felt up by a grown man on the subway.
she's still in her school uniform, and that's part of the appeal. It's hard to run in knee socks and Mary Janes, and all her male teachers know it too.
Don't just cover up star players raping freshmen after the dance.
Women are killed for rejecting dates.
But God forbid I bring my girlfriend to prom.
A girl is blackout drunk at the after party.
Take a picture before her wounds wake her. How many pixels is your sanity worth?
What's a 4.0 to a cold jury?
What did you learn in class today?
Don't talk loud.
Don't speak loud.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Keep your head down.
Keep your eyes on your own paper. If you don't know the answer,
Fill in C. Always wear earbuds when you ride the bus alone. If you feel like somebody's following you, pretend you're on the phone.
The teacher never fails.
Only you do.
every state in America, the greatest lessons.
Are the ones you don't remember learning.
It seems that we start out our education in the right way. We're taught to not take candy from strangers, to look both ways before crossing the road, and to always share our toys.
Instead, as students get older, we are taught to be quiet and listen, to not buck the system or talk back to adults. Does this mean to not stand up for what's right? Like Melissa, Zaria, and Rhiannon had said so perfectly, we are taught that just because something happens doesn't mean you aren't to talk about it. We are taught that it is better to be silent than to make them uncomfortable.
Perhaps the best place to start is from the beginning. As author Robert Fulham suggests in the following excerpt, all I really need to know, I learned in kindergarten. All I really need to know, I learned in kindergarten. All I really need to know about how to live
And what to do,
And how to be?
I learned in kindergarten.
Wisdom was not at the top of the graduate school mountain, but there in the sand pile at Sunday school. These were the things I learned.
share everything.
Play fair.
Don't hit people.
Put things back where you found them. Clean up your own mess. Don't take things that aren't yours. Say you're sorry when you hurt someone. Wash your hands before you eat. Flush.
Warm cookies and cold milk are good for you.
Live a balanced life.
Learn some.
And think some.
And draw.
And paint.
And sing.
And dance.
And play.
And work every day some.
Take a nap every day.
When you go out into the world, watch out for traffic. Hold hands and stick together.
Be aware of wonder. Remember the little seed in the styrofoam cup?
The roots go down and the plant goes up and nobody knows how or why. But we are all like that.
Goldfish and hamsters and white mice and even the little seed in the styrofoam cup.
They all die. So do we.
And then remember the Dick and Jane books and the first word you learned, the biggest word of all.
Look.
Everything you need to know is in there somewhere. The golden rule, and love, and basic sanitation, and ecology, and politics, and equality, and sane living.
Take any of those items and extrapolate it into the sophisticated adult terms and apply it to your family life, or your work, or your government, and your world, and it holds true and clear
And firm.
Think what a better world it would be if all
the whole world.
had cookies and milk about 3 o'clock every afternoon and then lay down with our blankies for a nap. Or if all governments had a basic policy to always put things back where you found them and to clean up their own mess.
And it is still true.
No matter how old you are,
When you go out into the world,
It is best
to hold hands and stick together.